So next up, we're going to talk about basically how AdGuard communicates privacy. And we have our first female speaker of the day, I think, Sofia Orlova from AdGuard, who's a UX writer. And in her function in UX writing, she works on product copy and across basically any of AdGuard's products and how to communicate the correct way. And as you can imagine, ad blocking as such and also privacy products are relatively complex to understand while they still cater to a whole lot of diverse people. So it's sometimes very hard to convey in a very concise manner what the product does, what it doesn't do. People have different backgrounds, different linguistic backgrounds as well. So how to communicate effectively without confusing the users, but also how to educate them and make it easy to understand. And Sofia is going to basically share on how AdGuard is doing this and how to best basically align languages with users' contexts and how to use layered interactions and adaptive terminology. And she brought us some real-life examples, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have for us, Sofia.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Sofia Orlova, and I am a UX writer at AdGuard. My talk today is called Light Side UX, how AdGuard communicates privacy. And what I'd like to share with you today is the principles that help us write and design for privacy products used globally. So, thanks, Kara, for introducing my talk. So I will probably, one moment. It's not, how do I click through slides? Thank you. Yes, got it. Okay, so I've got 2 points probably to share right here. First is that AdGuard has already a bunch of different privacy products like an ad blocker, a VPN, a DNS, a mail, and a crypto wallet. So these all products are not quite easy to understand, probably. They do a lot of complex stuff under the hood, but they still have to be simple enough for like different people to use. Secondly, our audience is really diverse. Like a lot of them do not have any technical background, and a lot of them do not speak English natively, although AdGuard is used globally. And still we have to communicate privacy to all of them and do it scalably. And I believe this is the challenge that we are like managing quite well. So I'll cover how are the product vision and principles, the expertise levels of our target audience, and the constraints that we face, like shape our design and UX copy. And I'll show you some of the solutions that we found that help us design and write scalably, even within these constraints. So let's move on to the first part, the product vision and core principles. At AdGuard, we like to say that we are on the light side of the internet. And for me, this phrase reflects our transparency, and openness, our willingness to help and protect, our active care, and giving control to the user. In practice, this translates into several things. When we talk about design, for example, we aim for a clean interface, we explain things when needed, and we strive to design everything. Well, we provide support, but we strive to design everything so that this support is actually not quite necessary. And there is one more concept that I would like to highlight separately. It is the functionality but optional complexity, and I'll come back to this idea a bit later in the talk. So let's take a look at a few examples of our real apps. So when we talk about active care, for example, we mean that we try to guide the user gently and support them when needed. So you can see this in our explanations and hints that helps the user learn more, find some additional information to help them complete the task. Or another idea is like user control. And here is the screenshot from our AdGuard for Android app. And you can see that the user can choose here from predefined protection levels or choose the custom one to unlock additional options. This is not like they do not have to do this, but we give them this opportunity because we believe the user should always feel in control. And this is one of the key values behind our UX decisions. So moving on to the next part, the user expertise levels. And here is where I would like to come back to the idea of this optional complexity. So, as I mentioned earlier, AdGuard's audience is really diverse, like literally from techies to grandmas. And the interesting thing here is that this diversity shows up in the different needs, the levels of understanding, or even levels of engagement, probably, and the vocabulary they use. So when we, for example, analyze the messages to support from our users, we notice big differences in how they describe the problems, like they use different words, they pay attention to different details, and this kind of reflects their experience level with technology. So I have divided the users into 3 groups. Let us call them like basic, medium, and advanced. And one of the ideas that comes from this diversity, these levels of expertise, is what we call layered interactions. So it means that a single AdGuard app can provide different experiences for users with different needs. Like for one user, it may be a really simple app with just one button, and this will be perfectly fine. But the deeper you go, the more complex AdGuard becomes. So let's take another look at our AdGuard for Android app. It's probably the best example of these layered interactions. At the basic level, you've got just one main protection switch, and this switch activates all the sessional AdGuard features. And if you've just downloaded the app and do not want to explore any further, well, of course, you have to do some pre-configuration, but if you do not want to explore, you don't have to. AdGuard will work probably perfectly fine for you. Even the wording here reflects the same idea. So we say protection is enabled. We do not mention any customization, just the global idea of protection. And the subtitle says, "Surf safely, we've got your back." And this also reflects our core principles like user control and protection. At the medium level, if the user starts exploring some simple customizations. They might be curious about how protection works. They might want to adjust some protection features like app blocking, tracking protection, noise blocking, and so on. And at the advanced level, there is a whole world of deep customization. Like we've got advanced settings, low-level settings. You can just root your device and unlock additional features, something like HTTPS filtering in apps, or you can customize how your network works. One interesting case is our attempt to lower the barrier and bridge this gap between the medium and advanced users. And this is a feature called the user rules. So in the old approach, the process was quite manual. We simply showed this empty input field, and the user would have to be familiar with the rule syntax to create some rules. So even if we provided this link to the rule syntax to the knowledge base article about the rule syntax, the user was quite on their own. So I guess the most users didn't even try because it looked too technical. And in our new app, AdGuard Mini for Mac, we've introduced a guided approach. Now we walk the user through the process step by step. We provide explanations and hints. We what will happen on certain websites, what exactly will be blocked, and what the rule will look like. So we do not know yet if it is a success story or not, but it might be an interesting case study. And we are curious to how many more users will be engaged in creating user rules. Okay, and to the last part, the constraints that we face. Well, we talk about building and maintaining our apps. Localization is, localization is not just a way to help our users, it is also a big constraint to the product team and the developers. And here's why. Well, as I mentioned before, AdGuard's products are used globally, and however hard we try, we cannot just cover all languages. And our main language is English, and some languages unfortunately have to fall back to English. So this is the first challenge because some users do not speak English natively. And we cannot be sure that they would understand some advanced level sentences or phrasal verbs or cultural references. The second challenge comes from the translation process itself. So for the most popular languages, we use professional translators. We also use a lot of volunteers that help us translate. But for some languages, we have to rely on machine translators. And to translate our websites and apps, we use the platform called Crowdin. And as you can see, these are individual strings, not the whole screens. So the user, the translator, might not see the full context. Even if we provide some screenshots, we cannot be sure that everyone would see them. Even if we leave some comments, we cannot be sure that everyone would read them. And we can be certain absolutely that the machine translations, as they are, as we use them now, do not see this context. So as a conclusion, for example, we cannot just divide sentences into parts like go to and settings, like different strings. Or we cannot just use things that might somehow confuse the machine translations and like the volunteers as well. So for the languages where we use machine translation, we have to be like extremely careful. But actually, this is true for all languages. Let's go back for a moment to the user rules section that I have already told you about. So when we were first designing it, the initial idea was to make it so that it would reflect the natural English sentence, like blog requests to advertising.com. Sounds perfect, clear, short, let's move on. But when we thought about the translations, we realized how messy it would be. Just like this one sentence, this single sentence would be translated so differently into different languages because like Slavic languages use grammatical cases. In Turkic languages, what we call prepositions are attached to the ending of the word. So, and Asian languages normally require more context. So for many languages, we would have to completely redesign this particular section just to reflect their natural wording. But this is not practical, actually. So instead, Instead, we decided to go with a slightly longer but a clearer phrase that I believe was a huge help for both the translators and our users. And the final thing probably that I would like to talk about is other limitations that also shape our wording decisions. So on some platforms, we have to adjust the copy and the functionality to the policies of the OS, of the app stores, or the distributors. For example, in some cases, we have to rephrase ad blocking as protection, or we should say something like, not like AdGuard blocks this and that, we say your selected feature blocks that. Or in other cases, like on iOS, we cannot just block malware. It's also, we make sure to remove any mentions and also the features that are related to malware blocking. And interestingly, I believe this doesn't really affect the user experience, but what it does harm is the consistency. So we cannot just simply reduce the time to market by reusing the wording and the design decisions that have already been implemented by the developers, have already been translated into all the required languages. Instead, almost every app has something that we had to create from scratch. Well, let's say this kind of boosts our creativity. So to wrap things up, it would be really nice to say that we are completely free, completely creative when writing and designing for AdGuard products, but this is obviously not true. We are always constrained by what we can and cannot say, but what language we can use, what topics we can choose. But this is not necessarily a bad thing, because it kind of poses the constant challenge for us to communicate as clearly as possible, as scalably as possible, even within these constraints. So this was everything that I would like to share with you today. If you've got any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Hi, Sofia. In my presentation, thank you. So my question is, how often do you have some problems with translations when they broke your layouts? Because, it's extension and you have very tiny place there. So some languages like Russian, Germany, probably, when you translate them, it just can broke everything. So do you have any solution for it?
Well, now that we know that there are languages that use long words, we try to design everything so, keeping these languages in mind. So when we design things, we try to make some pre-translation in these layouts in Figma to make sure that everything fits. So we just do not design for English. We design for all languages if possible.
Thank you.
Thanks for the talk. I think the user rule interface is really interesting. I also see the AdBlocker as one of firewall applications for my PC or smartphone. But who was the exact target for that feature? Because I even struggle to explain the concept of network request to my parents or friends. So I wonder if it was for the developers who knows about the web environment.
I see.
Just lacking the Bluetooth syntax knowledge.
Well, I try to explain this. I need some time to process. Okay. Well, this is the case that I am not sure if it is successful yet. It is aimed at the audience that is not that technical, so that is not developers who cannot probably inspect the code, who do not know how to do this, but still want to somehow engage in this creating some filtering. The thing here is that the medium-level audience, as I see them, are kind of engaged, involved in exploring more and learning more. So I hope that there will be people who are using them. But yes, I am not sure just yet if this works out.
Yeah, I think it is really a good experiment and a good start for a friendly advocate. And another question would be, have you tried to think other approach to explain the layers in ad blocking? Because I really think that expressing ad blocking as a low, medium, high doesn't explain anything. It's really unclear to me. It hides every details in the back. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like so. Have you tried to think about other forms to explain the ad blocking layers, not all the levels? I just wonder. any ideas?
Okay, I can think about this. This is not explaining ad blocking to the audience, probably. This is explaining ad blocking. This is explaining our approach, probably, to you guys. When we try to explain, well, not everyone needs some explanations, probably. So there are a lot of people like grandmas that have just downloaded the app, or they had the grandsons, grandchildren download the app for them. They don't need these explanations at all. So it is not about like explaining ad blocking to everybody. It is about explaining ad blocking to people who want to learn more. So yes, we do have some like hints and explanations, but they are aimed not at everybody. They are aimed at people who this what I have simplified as medium level audience, probably. Yes. So yes, I think this is a rough simplification, and people are more like different, but. Let's say that this simplification kind of helps us make some decisions, probably. So about your question, I will think about this. I just do not have an answer right now for you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really understandable. Thank you for that.
Hi, thanks for the talk. It's
Hi.
really interesting to hear about the different things that go into how a UX is shaped. Especially the example with the one sentence and the different languages. It was really just. I was curious, how do you make decisions like that? How do you get feedback? Do you do A/B testing? You have just user feedback, community forums, or and a follow-up. Is revenue a factor at all? Like, what makes the most money?
Yeah, 2 questions.
It's a complicated question. And this is probably some part of this question is not for me, probably. But what I can say is that, about the feedback, yes, we get different types of feedback. It is also an ongoing process of improving the tasting and user research in general. So we have just the user support messages, some reviews, some yes. Plus we've got this tasting, some A/B testing, but it is not more about apps. It is more about the websites. Plus we've got some like privacy friendly, not quite, but privacy friendly ways of testing how the users, what features the user use most, what features, like what screens they visit most, what buttons they click most. So this is the thing that we can just make some conclusions, have some ideas from. But this is still, yes, an ongoing process, and we are still in the process of improving all of that. So probably we will be able to learn more about our audience in the future. This is about the feedback. What also shapes our decisions? You said revenue. It is not always working like that. So we have a lot of just completely free apps that we also have to work on. And about them, we have just this feedback from the users, the reviews from the users, the feedback that comes to support. Probably that's it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you for the talk. I was wondering, because talking about privacy and ad blocking is very, very hard.
Yep.
We know that. I wonder if when you design the product or take the user into the consideration, if you look for some patterns, common patterns in other products, and you try to use some common language to explain your features in a way that is more comprehensible to everyone? Like, I mean, do you investigate how Apple communicates it or how iOS communicates it? And if you try to incorporate it into your own designs, or you always try to build it from ground up and to have your own specific language?
It is more about our own experience, probably, yes, the way that we see our apps. Well, I do some user research, like not the user research, just normal research of our competitors. Yes, but this is not the main source of ideas. Probably it is more about the product vision, the understanding in general of the user flow, and yes, our own users probably.
Thank you.
Hey. I think we need to move ahead with the schedule. So thank you, Sofia.
Thank you.
If you have more questions, we are just one talk out of the lunch break,
Yep.
so there will be more time.